Alright, so I'm gonna be ranking every one of the Arc dinos. First of all, the mech. I don't know if this is the Mega Mech or just regular mech, but either way, it's B. It's not too bad. It's also not amazing. See, Mega Mech, pretty good, really good. These guys, Diplocoluses, there's really no point in the game anymore. Like, does anybody really use them anymore? I mean, yeah, they're useful, but like rarely. Like the only thing they're good for is an oxygen tank. Other than that, they're weak and die very easily. So, just it's not terrible. It's got use. Dire Bear, ooh, in terms of early game, good luck on taming it. I'd say for end game, Dire Bear's a solid B. Dire Bear's pretty good. Okay, lead sickness. Why is it even in the game? Like, nobody likes it. Come on, tell me any of you like this thing. It attacks your boat. Literally, the only thing it's good for is meat. You can't tame it. I mean, if you can, I've never tamed it. Never knew you could tame it, and I played like almost 10,000 hours of the game. So, like, I've played, as I said, I've played almost 10,000 hours of the game. I've never seen a use for these things other than to get the drop to fight the boss. Like, never use them any other time. I could play the game without them. If the drops weren't necessary to beat the bosses, I could play the entire game without it. Daedons, I'm gonna say solid B. They're not amazing. Actually, I'm gonna go C or B. Probably B. They're good for boss fights, certainly. They're also good for packs. Like if you're hunting with raptor packs, you bring one with you and they'll heal. Basically, they're pretty good. Their healing thing's pretty good. Uh, Shoulder pets. I'm gonna rank like dinos based off of their category. So like shoulder pets will be ranked against other shoulder pets. I will compare them against other shoulder pets. Apex carnivores, same. Water dinos, same. So I'm not gonna compare like a Rex to a itchy or dolphin. Okay, so glowtails. I mean, it's difficult to get them. It's harder to get them than most. Bulldog. Bulldog is for being a good, like literally you can find them in the starting zone. They're pretty decent, but I mean, glowtails. I don't know. Personally, I think the glowtails are one of the best shoulder pets. Like the aberration shoulder pets are like one of the best shoulder pets because of like the whole light source and everything. But the fact that they do eat ab mushrooms, therefore you can't really have them on any other map. It's gonna go C. Like if it could eat regular stuff, it'd be higher. But dodos. I mean dodos. I mean I wouldn't put it here because I mean like dodos are really good. Like it's an easy way to get hide and meat right off the bat. Easy way to get some Basic kibble. They don't really have any use other than that, so I'm gonna go D. But I mean, like, the game would be a lot harder without them. Rex. I think the Rex is a bit overrated if I'm being completely honest. Cause I mean, like, yeah, bred Rexes are really good, but like, unless you're taming like a max level in the wild, it's not that great. Like, I'd take a pack of aloes over a Rex anytime. Like, I've played this game, I've beat this game so many times, and the only thing I use Rexes for are boss fights. I don't really like Rexes. They're a bit overrated. I'm gonna go C tier. Basilosauruses. Personally, with how easy it is to tame them and how early on you can get them, I mean, other than the fact that you have to fight off mantas, these guys are pretty good. Like, you can do caves with them. Uh, you can, I mean, you can fight with them. I wouldn't suggest it. They don't do much damage, but like, they do have a lot of health. So like, at least a decent amount of health. I'd go B tier. Actually, no, I think it's gonna be first A tier. In terms of water dinos, that's an A. Yeah, that's pretty good. Especially for being a low level tame. Like, I mean, yeah, I understand the saddle's really high, but like, say you get a saddle from a drop level 5, you could tame that thing. Woolly rhino. Uh, hmm, I don't know. Woolly rhino, I mean, it's a decent tame. It's a decent tame. I mean, like, combat. It's one of the good berry gatherers because, like, a problem when you're gathering berries is, like, unless you're taming a Bronto, which is, like, the best berry gatherer, it's like, you're open to being attacked. Like, trikes, stegos, the only, like, mid to low tier herbivores I'd say are decent at fighting are like iguanodons, depending on what you're fighting. Because like I've taken on a Carno with an iguanodon, so like they're pretty good. Given the fact that they don't use stamina if you're running on all four legs, you can, and they're pretty quick. You can outrun most dinos. And like the one benefit is like actually I should probably get back to woolly rhino. Um, I'd say B. In terms of a berry gatherer, B. Because it can also be used for combat, which most can't. Guanodon? Guanodon is one of my most favorite herbivores in the game. It's quick, you don't use stamina, most herbivores are slow, and it's like the ones that are fast go through stamina really quickly, but it's like the Iguanodon's fast, doesn't use stamina. Like, it's pretty good at gathering berries. The ability to turn them into seeds. I know I've accidentally turned my berries into seeds once or twice. Happens all the time. But that's only because I have it set to a key binding. I'd say they're a solid A tier for berry gatherers. This is my opinion, by the way. So okay, saber-tooth salmon. I'd say they're the best fish only because you can get a prime meat from them. But still, B tier. Eels. Eels. I'm gonna say it. Why? Like, I don't think in the 10,000 hours I've played of Ark, I've ever used eels. I mean, some people like them. Not me. Okay, the bosses are just going with B tier. Actually, I'm gonna rank bosses on difficulty. Um, so basically easiest to hardest instead of best to worst. So, Broodmother, easiest boss fight. Unless you're talking Ragnarok boss fights, then it's those because they're dumbed down. Baryonyx, for caving dinos, decent. For water dinos, given the fact that their saddle's like only like 46, something like that. Um, they're pretty good. Especially in the water, their sun attack. Okay, Leoprodons, Liprodons, however you want to pronounce it. I don't like them. Like, they're not that great. And it's like, they're hard to find, rare to come across, very, very rare to come across. Like, I think I've seen them 10,000 hours in Ark, and I've seen like 80. Yeah, 80 might seem like a lot, but in 10,000 hours of the game, that's not that many. That's like that's like one every like 200 hours of the game. 130 for every 135.5 hours, I've seen one. It's not that great. I don't really see a point. Like, they're not that great, and they're super rare. It's like they're super rare, and not really worth the rare occasion that you find them on. Like, I don't think I've ever tamed one. Ever. Ever. I think once when I was first, because I thought it was cool. And it was funny. I was like, back. Yeah, that was a while ago. I could play the game. I could definitely play the game without it. Akatina. Akatina. The only downside to these things. Actually, no, there's a few downsides. One downside is they are really low on health. So, like, the moment your base gets attacked, you are screwed. And it's like they are tamed with um, cake, veggie cake. So it's not that great either. So yeah, I mean, say they were tamed with something other than veggie cake, and they had a bit better health, they'd be they'd be A tier. But they've got a few downsides, so I'm gonna put them at a C. Actually, no, B. B. Their downside, take them from an A to a B. Okay, scout drones. Does anybody really use these anymore? I think a few people used them when the game when Extinction first came out in 2018. But other than that, I mean, like, you're so vulnerable. Like, I mean, yeah, they're good for scouting out a base area if you don't have a flyer. Like, but the problem there is they require electronics and polymer, which at the time that you've got the stuff to craft it, you'd have a flyer anyway. And if you don't, I'm asking you, what are you doing? I mean, unless you're playing on like no, because even on Extinction, you'd need a good dino to do the drops that give you polymer. If it like, I think I've used it once, and that was when Extinction first came out. I think we all did, but they're not that great. They're cool, but at the same time, I mean, they're cool, but they're expensive. They get destroyed with one hit, and you are so vulnerable. Not to mention, they're very buggy. Megaloceros. Male Megaloceros. The ones that can gather thatch with their horns. I mean, for an early on tame, because you get their saddle at, I think, 42. Something 42, 46. Fine, what if I just... 30. I was close. So, for being able to get them at 30, they're pretty decent. I mean, they're rivaled by the Therizino, but Therizino you can't tame until like 68. Yeah, 68. I'm gonna go B tier. Trust me, I know it seems like I'm putting most of them here, but there are going to be some, a lot that are in here. Megalodon. Given the fact that they're one of the only, like, they're one of the only carnivorous dinos good for fighting in terms of ocean tames in the entire game. I mean, yeah, you have Mosasaur, you have Tuso, Megalodon, Spino, if you consider that. Because their domain is the water. They get buffed from the water. I'd say they're not great. I mean, their health is pretty good. But, like, I'd say the only reason they're going to B tier is because they're one of the only ones. If there was other ones to compare it to, it'd be lower. Like, you go from an itchy, or yeah, an itchy, megalodon, mosasaur, tuso. There's four of them that are really that I really use. It's going B, but only because it's not much to compare it to. What is that? That's a lep. I totally forgot those guys existed. To be honest, I tamed them when I first started playing. They're pretty good. I mean, they're not very common. You find a couple. I'd still go B tier because, you know, they're pretty good for combat. They'd be an A tier, but like for their level requirement for the saddle, it's not. I mean, they're good for combat, but at the level required to get them, not amazing. Oviraptors. Oviraptors are very overlooked because they're hard to tame. They cost a lot of eggs. Um, but when paired with like the Procoptodon, Procoptodon, they're pretty good. I'm gonna go B, 100%. Morellatops. I feel like they should be on more maps. Like they're decent combat. Like they're one of the herbivores that you I'd be actually willing to take on a pack of raptors with. And then their water ability makes it so much better. Definitely B tier. Actually, it's going up there with Guanodon. Calicotherium. I mean, they're decent. They're pretty good, but they require beer to tame. And so that's a minimum of like 6 to 12 hours playing the game in order to tame one. It's not worth it. I mean, they're good, but at the tier in which, I mean, they're good for combat, yes, but like in the tier in which like the amount of time and effort required to tame one, it's not worth what's actually what it actually does. Microraptor, I don't think I need to explain. Does anybody really like them? Shoulder pets, they don't do much in terms of being a shoulder pet. They're pretty terrible in terms of shoulder pets. They're annoying. And they make traveling through the jungle and the redwoods a pain. I hate them. I mean, I'm not saying they should be taken out of the game, but the first thing I think of when I get attacked by a Mega Raptor is, why is this a thing? To be honest, every time. Hey, buddy. Um, Sarcos. Um, Sarcos, they're not too bad. They're decent. I'm actually gonna move some of these. In fact, I'm actually going to. Oops. Okay, your average dino. They're not terrible. They're not amazing. Uh, Patchy. I feel like they're decent because it's like they have the benefits of a trike, right? Plus they have their weird gas ability. That might be a mod. That's a mod. Is that a mod? No, it's not a mod. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I was rating this fairly. It's gonna go B. To be fair, it's like a trike, which is about average. It's not terrible. It's not amazing. It's about a good tame. It's about decent tame. But then it has that gas, and it just makes it a little bit better. Not to mention it's faster than a trike. Much faster. Perlovia. I know this is going to upset some people, but unless you're playing Ark, a PvE game for PvP, it's not that. It's a PvP game. I'm sorry, but it is a PvP tame in a PvE game. Otters. Otters are one of the best shoulder pets to begin with because of their hypo and hyperthermic insulation. But their ability to hold artifacts, being the only dino that can hold artifacts, go. Thylas. Thylas are great. Great climbers. Oh, rock drakes, Thylas, Mesopithecus. No, sorry, Dinopithecus. Any dino that can climb on walls and like just leap, amazing. Makes it so much easier to traverse mountains and caves. Thylas are great for scorched caves. Um, Thylas are personally one of my favorite mammals in the game. Just because of their climbing ability. So, like, my personal opinion would say A tier. But, if I'm looking at this from a new player, and I list what this thing can do, it'll knock you out of the trees. Makes flying through the redwoods a pain. It's really good for traversal and adventure. Its health is really good. Its damage is pretty good too. Like, its damage is rivals most. Like, I could take a Thyla to take on a Rex. In fact, I do on several occasions, many times. I think I've killed more Rexes with a Thyla in the time playing this game than I have with a regular Rex. Its saddle is at 56. So about a mid-tier game tame, but can take on end-tier dinos. I mean, no, do not take on a Giga. You will get wiped. The Giga will clean the floor with you. Like, the Giga will wipe the floor with you, and then just like hang your corpse around its neck as a trophy. Like, no, it will destroy you. Most things. Until they announced the Carcharodontosaurus. Charcharodontosaurus. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. Carcharodontosaurus is a mouthful. But it rivals the Giga. I don't know if it's on this list. Thyla's B. There are more pros than cons for Thylas. Jerboa. Jerboas on Scorched. Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth. Okay, you're just gonna have to deal with the way I say things. They're pretty good. It can tell you when a storm's coming. I'm gonna say in terms of shoulder pets, it's a B. The Piggy Pig. Alright. If you're playing the game properly and completely, it is a good tame. It is essential. Because you cannot have decent crops without one. If you're gonna have a full farm by the end of the game, you're gonna have tamed a Phiomia at some point. Actually, I'd say actually no, most people tame it. Kairuku. I'd say D tier because they're not really useful except to kill, to be honest. Like, they're not that great in terms of actual tames. But because they come in huge packs and it's one of the best ways to get organic polymer early on, just gonna go C. It's not average. It's, if you tamed it, I'd wonder why and what was going through your head. But it's not completely useless. Anglerfish are pretty good. Anglerfish are pretty good. Spinos. Spinos being able to traverse water and land, getting a hydro buff. They do okay damage. Several things do better. It's average. Dragon. So, as I said, I'm ranking these bosses as difficulty. Dragon? It's not an easy feat. It is not an easy feat. Alright? Like, I wouldn't say it's super hard, but it's difficult. It is difficult. It's down there for difficult. Best boss to fight because it's easiest. One of the harder bosses to fight. Carcanos. They're pretty good. They are honestly pretty good. But their taming method is difficult and strange for a new player. For an advanced player, I tame them all the time. I know what I'm doing. I don't fail many times. There's every once in a while where it doesn't have enough health and it gets killed. But for the most part, taming a Carcanos for me is pretty easy as a experienced and like a player who knows what they're doing. But in terms of just a beginner player, it's not the best. I'm gonna go average because it's really good, but hard to do as a beginner. Okay. Arthropleurus. This is going to be a controversial one because people who didn't play originally when it wasn't that great of a tame. And as I said, this is a PvE game. PvP aspect of this game sucks. Why would you expect it not to be? It's a PvE game. It's always been a PvE game. I'm sorry if that offends you, but if you got a problem with PvP, play it the way it was intended to play. This game was intended and made to be played PvE, not PvP. So, originally this sucked. because you couldn't breed it. Its health was not that great. Its health isn't great. Just taming a random one, its health is not that great. They suck when you run into them in caves. They were originally, if I would have made this list years ago, it would have been here. But with their recent update in the last few years, allowing them to be breedable, they are actually decent cave tames. Now that you can breed them and get pretty good things. So I'm going to go with a B. Titanosaurus. Let's be honest. For PvE, the game is a PvE game. It doesn't really, it's not, for playing the game it was intended to be played solo, playing through the story, playing the game to its full extent in PvE the way it was intended. To be honest, it's not that useful. Lystros. This is depending on how much you've played and what you know about the game. They are very early games. You can tame them at level 1. That's a benefit. They're easily tamed. That's another benefit. They're everywhere, so if it dies, you can easily replace yours. They have decent health for being a passive tame herbivore that sucks at combat. And their XP buff, they are great tames to have around the base. Great tames to have around the base. Allows you to level up your dinos when you're not around. So nice. I'm not gonna go B tier, right? Because it's a Lystro, right? It's a Lystro. But it's not that bad. It's a pretty good tame. Megatheriums. Best dino in the game to fight the broodmother. In fact, if bred right, I took on the broodmother and then the Mesopithecus and then the dragon with the same set of Megatheriums every time. The same 20 Megatheriums. When bred right, they have amazing health. So when bred right, you can get them up to like 30,000 health, and they can do like 3,000 to 5,000 damage a hit. When buffed for the broodmother, and then when not buffed, they do about 2,000 damage. Now imagine 20 of them attacking a boss, doing 2,000 damage. Actually, no, correction. When buffed, if they're bred right, they can do almost 20,000 damage. Because mine, when fighting the broodmother, were doing 15,000 damage. And we're doing 3 to 5 unbuffed. They are amazing tames for fighting bosses. Like, dragon is hard to fight, but then you fight them with a mesopithecate. I mean a megatheriums, a pack of megatheriums that are bred properly and well. And at the same time, they're so good that you could fight bosses by just throwing them together and getting average stats. And then their their insect buff makes them great caving tames for caves they can fit in. And so all around, they are amazing. There aren't that many um downsides to them. Some people are like, yeah, but if they eat a bug in the wild, they go rampage. But yeah, that's the point. Like when they eat a bug, they rage. That's the whole point. That's what that buff is. Is they rage and do 75% more damage. I don't think I've ever not liked a Megatherium. Megatheriums are decent, even wild. Like, tame them from the wild, and they're pretty decent. They'll do almost like 500 damage if you when buffed. They're B tier at minimum. Actually, no, they're A tier. There's not many things bad with them. Obvious. I don't really need to explain to novice. It's not amazing because it's just meant for resources, but it's also very useful, so it's not terrible. Beavers. Beavers good. Their dams are amazing. Them just as a team is pretty good. Gas bags. Gas bags are good when used properly. Most people don't know how to use them properly. That's the thing. They have weight reduction on so much stuff. They can carry so much weight. And not to mention you can blow up and fly if you have a good like speed and like air capacity. They're great. They're great for traversal. Not to mention, they can be used outside of extinction. They're really good. Deathworms. Deathworms are like mini bosses, alright? I'm gonna rank Deathworms with Titans and other mini bosses. Deathworms, they're easy. They're easy to fight. Right? They're the easiest mini boss to fight in the game. I mean, unless you're talking... Actually, no, because that's a Deathworm. Brontos. Best berry gatherer. By far. But, it's an N tier thing, right? So, you'd expect it. I'm gonna say... Brontos are average, right? They're not amazing for being an N tier game. They're good. They're really good, but at the same time, they're an N tier game creature. I mean, not an N tier, an end game herbivore, and so when you compare them to other herbivores, they're really good. but then compare it to the fact that it's an end game creature, it's about average. It's about what you would expect from an end game creature. Bats. Don't like them. C. Now the new bats. Fjordur bats. Is it Fjordur or is it Lost Island? Fjordur. Fjordur bats. Those are good. Manticore. Manticore. Second easiest boss. Or actually, I'm going to put bosses here. Parasaur. They have amazing stamina. For being a level 10 tame. Actually, is it 10 on PC? I think it's actually 9. Nine. That's what I thought. It's 10 on mobile. For being a level 10 tame, they have amazing stamina. Their health is not that great. Don't take it into a fight, you're gonna die. They're fast. Their stamina's great. Their weight's pretty good. I'd say for being an early game tame, like a very early game tame, see, a lot of people are going to be confused on this. I am ranking them off of what it's like to play them, what a new person would say given everything that's terrible about them, everything that's good about them, comparing them to other early, mid, or late game tames, other herbivores, other carnivores, other shoulder pets. They're easy to tame. They don't have many downsides. And they're very early game tames that you can use until like level 30 easily. So you can, this is a very early game tame that can be used until mid game. But, see, I put it at B. In terms of being a herbivore, they kind of suck. So they're going to go average. But any other aspect, actually, I'd say there's more pros than cons for a parasaur, so it's going to go higher. But in terms of being a herbivore, it kind of sucks. But for anything else you're using it for, except for combat and gathering berries, it's pretty good. For exploring and trying to travel places, it's good. For carrying stuff, it's good. Alright. I'd say out of the Titans, probably Desert Titan is the easiest Titan. I'd say it's probably second easiest. So it's about average, what you expect from a mini boss, right? Yudi. Yudi's Yudi. Alright. Udis are great, right? They're great. They can use their boss tames. They're boss fight tames. They put them in a day. They're great for health. damage. They're great for abilities. They're great for boss fights. But being able to use their abilities in the wild makes the snow very hard. It's going to be bumped down a tier. Procoptodon. Most people don't like this, right? They think it's useless. But when used properly, it's a decent tame. Actually, it has uses. It has uses. Nobody likes it, but it's useful. For being a useless tame, it's pretty good. Like, great source of oil, XP, organic polymer, great. Direwolves. For being not needing a saddle, means that you can tame them at level 1. You can use them at level 1. So given the fact that they are a mid-game tame, but can be used at any stage of the game, you just need to be able to tame one. Like if you get a ascendant crossbow at level 2, you could easily tame one. Easy tames. Great combat. Great traveling. Like, they are really good for being able to be tamed at any stage in the game. Right? Same goes with most, like, saddleless tames. They'd be here, but given the fact that they can be tamed at any point in the game, puts them at the benefits that put it here. Being able to be tamed at any point in the game brings it up to an A. Right? It's Kentros. It's a herbivore. That's more of a carnivore than a herbivore. And all out just kinda sucks. Unless you're using it for PvP, which I'm talking about PvE. Game was not intended to be played for PvP. It is a PvE game. It is listed in the Steam page, Epic Game Store, and Google Play Store, and Microsoft Store as a PvE game. I don't care about PvP. It's not listed as a PvP game, therefore I'm not ranking it as PvP. It sucks for PvE. It really does. And anyone who doesn't play PvP would agree. Basilisk. Basilisk average, right? They're endgame tames. Actually, given the fact that they're endgame tames, they don't do that great of damage, right? Oh, donkeys. Donkeys are pretty good. Donkeys are good, right? I should do a chart for specific types of dinos. Like, this is all dinos. See? Trilobites, given the fact that they're just meant to be killed, like, you can get black pearls at level 1 because of these. That puts them at an S tier, right? Black pearls are so hard to get. And the fact that you can get them at level 1 because of that. Quetzal. Quetzal's pretty underrated. Like, most people are like, yeah, it's Quetzal. But, like, think about it. It's a Quetzal. Like Quetzal's the ability to carry large dinos the size of Rexes, the huge weight capacity, the ability to now, with the release of Genesis a few years ago, can now level up flight speed. No longer have to worry about it being slow. The only downside to a Quetzal was that it was slow and hard to find. But it's so good, it's understandable why it's so hard to find. And with the ability to level up flight speed, that eliminates that from the equation, making it a really good tame. Carnos. Carnos, for being about a mid-game tame, they're pretty good. They're about average. They're pretty good. Dillos. Now listen. You have a pack of 30 of these things? You could, if you had enough of these, you could take on a Rex. With their spit attack in order to slowly do damage. I've wondered sometimes why their spit attacks don't stack, and I was really glad it doesn't. And then I thought about it. If it did, it'd be OP because it does dot damage, damage over time. It slows you, it blinds you, and makes you so much more vulnerable to attack. So say you get spit on by a Dillo, and then 15 Dillos come attack a Rex, and it's slowed and being damaged. It's slowed and poisoned and blinded. What is it going to do? It's pretty good. For being a really early game tame, you can literally tame at level 1 with raw prime meat. You can kill a dodo and tame it at level 2, right? Because by the time you tame it, you'd be level 2. So, like, for being a early game tame, and if you had like a pack of them, you could take on a Rex. Dillos are so underrated. Itchies are average. They're just average, all right. They're average. They're great water tames for what they're meant to be tamed for is to just travel. They're amazing for that, right? But they're not much. They're not really good for anything else. So they're average. They're okay. They do what they're intended for, but nothing else. All right, rock golems. Personally, rock golems are hard to tame, and they're not worth it, to be honest. All right, the overseer. Overseer isn't a hard tame, right? It does about average damage, right? It's just very long. It's a B. It's third in terms of tame. Boss. Rock drakes, given the fact, same reason for thalacolios, except for now they can glide and camouflage. They'd be higher, they'd be here, but their damage isn't great. Bulb dogs. Being the earliest, same reason this, it's gonna go higher because it's a great one. And it's early game. Like, you tame it at level 1, so. But the same reason this one's low makes this one low. Actually, I understand, yes. Right. Some people like them, yeah. But they're not great in terms of shoulder pets. The fact that they can't really be used anywhere except for aberration or a map that has aberration area or aberration mushrooms, not great. Featherlight is gonna go here because it's probably the best aberration shoulder pet. All right, defense units. They're not tameable, and they're a pain, right? I mean, they're great for resources, so they're gonna go average. They have about they're great in terms of killing them, but they also have they have about as many cons as they do pros. So it's gonna go average, right? Mesopithecus. I'm actually gonna change this. These two are about the exact same difficulty, right? This one, then this one, then this one. Like, Anki, with the new update that they will swing on their own, Ankies are amazing. So many, like, necessary, great resources that you're gonna need. And the fact that you don't have to hop off and harvest it now, you can just carry it like a Dodic, puts it at a B. Alright. Only thing they're useful for is chitin. Okay, for a PvE game, nobody's gonna want to use it, alright? I've used Terror Birds from time to time. Terror Birds are not too bad. Like, they're great for, like, traveling around. They've got pretty good stamina. Like, they've got low stamina, but they don't use much. Alright, Velonosaurs? Velonosaurs are pretty good, right? They can be used outside of extinction. And, like, they have PvE, like, uses. Like, you can use them as turrets. Not only for PvP, which I don't care about PvP, but the ability to use them as a turret. Say a Rex is coming for your base and you have 3 Velonosaurs with high damage output and they're just cutting loose on that Rex is not making it to your base. So Velonosaurs are pretty good. Alright. Other than the fact that you need them, Troodons are actually pretty good. Right? Okay. Tusos. Tusos are great, right? We can all agree Tusos are decent. Tusos are pretty decent. But given the fact that they're endgame tames, you gotta be like level 80 to get the saddle. It's just average, guys. Like, it's what you'd expect from that high end of a tame. Does the same as any other high end tame. Alright, so these these are underrated, right? People people overlook these. These are good. These are great, right? To be used to knock things out because they're easy to knock out. They're great. Trikes, no, everyone's tamed a trike at some point, right? Alright, the I'm gonna say these two are about even, right? Actually. Okay, that kind of looks funny. It's a Procopticon with a feather light its head. Moss chops, moss chops on actual regular PC and console arc. If leveled right, with basic default difficulty, they can do like 1,000 to 2,000 damage. And the fact that they can be tamed at any level, they are really good, right? They are really good for an early game tame. Like, they are insanely good. Like, the ability to level up 30 levels into damage, depending on your damage multiplier, and do like 2,000 damage. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were nerfed at some point. But they're still really good. But their taming is so stupid. Like, we've all run into the problem where we go to tame a Moschops, and it wants cooked prime fish meat. Who has cooked prime fish meat at level 8? Nobody. Hyenodons. Hyenodons in tamed wild hyenodons are kind of stupid with their AI. It's so dumb. But they're not bad for tamed. Like, when they actually are properly attacking. Alright. Archaeopteryx. Their parachute effect? It's amazing. Gallimimus. That's that's a compy actually. Alright, these like weird scaled down pictures are really getting me. That's a compy. Compies suck, to be honest. They need prime meat to be tamed. They're hard to tame. They kind of suck. For cave tame, they're about average. Equus. Equus is a great herbivore. The ability to have a mobile mortar and pestle. Just amazing. It's great on mobile. Even better on original arc. Bees. Bees. Alright. They're just a resource tame, to be honest. These are a pain. And not worth the amount of chitin they give. Right? They only give like 8 chitin. And they are so annoying. Mosasaurus. They tame at about 60, which is about mid tier, right? It's like high mid game to low end game tier. But Exmosis, Breadmosis, most people have tamed a Mosa will agree. Mosas are great. King Titan. We all know. The King Titan is one of the hardest bosses in the game. The fact that you need 50 tames to fight it should show you. The fact that it requires 50 gigas to fight this thing should just tell you how hard it is to fight this thing. It is one of the hardest bosses in the game. Also, I'm afraid this is the regular mech because I just seen a picture of the Mega Mech. Actually, no. Snow owls. Their healing ability is just too good, right? I didn't mean to click on that one. They got nerfed when Extinction first came out in 2018, and it kind of screwed them. Alright, Mammoths, average. Ravengers, bit OP, given the fact that their saddles are like 28. So they're like they're like 47. So they're what with the new ability to get up to like 2 with everything that's been released for Arc, the max for Arc is now like 240. I mean 140. So like being level 47. Puts them barely in low tier in early game. Actually, puts them at mid game because 45 is about mid game. Pelagornis. Pelagornis is. They're not terrible, but they're not great. Mantis is one of the best harvesting dinos in the game. I don't even think these guys have a use anymore, to be honest. They're gonna go right up here next to Diplocaulus. Alright, these guys. Seekers are pretty weak. They're not great. Dimorphs are lethal in packs, man. Dimorphs are lethal. You could take on a freaking Giga if you had like 4, because they can do like 300 damage, and say you have 30 of them doing 300 damage per second. Actually, no. Even you could tame 100 of them. I've seen somebody tame 100 of them, and they're doing 300 damage. That is 30,000 damage per second. Not even a Giga can withstand that much damage. Right? like, like you can't take them to fight a boss because you need too many to fight the boss. Then, like, they'd get slaughtered. But like, their hitbox is retarded. They do OP amounts of damage for what they are. And in packs, they are lethal and can rival a huge pack of Dimorphs can rival a Giga. Man, and I've seen it happen. I have seen it happen. In fact, I've done it myself. These things are OP. Alright, average. Glow bugs? They're glow bugs, right? Vultures, vultures, vultures. In terms of shoulder pets, they suck. Mantas. Rockwell. Rockwell is not the hardest, but is one of the hardest bosses. Actually, in fact, it is. No. Unless it's got Genesis bosses in here. Does it have Mooter? Well, it has. It has. The Dinopithecus King. Okay, why are these here? These aren't dinos. What? Alrighty. We are getting down to the nitty gritty now. Does it have Mooter? It unfortunately does not have Mooter. Why does it not have Mooter? Or. So it has Genesis Part 2 Rockwell. Alright. Enforcers. Enforcers, they'd be up here with a Thyla, but they're easily killed. And expensive. Piranhas. Come on. Honestly, nobody likes them. Mega Mech. Mega Mech can take on King Titan. Mega Mech is A tier. One of the best one of the best combat like tames in the game. Titan boas. Titan boas, ever since they changed the kibble system, really haven't had a point anymore. Megal. These guys. These guys are good. Like, they are good. But they can only be used at night. Causes problems. Wyverns. Fire Wyvern. Fire Wyvern is good. Megalanion. Megalanion. Average cave tame. Dodic. Their damage reduction. Their damage output. Even the fact that they're a harvesting dino. Like, they are a herbivore that is meant for gathering resources, but can be used in combat. Like, I mean, I wouldn't suggest it, but it can be. Alright, getting down to the end. Sabretooth. Sabretooth. Average. Frogs, when used correctly, they're good. Megapithecus. Average. Dung beetles. They're going up here with Akatina. Reapers. They're they're great, right? Everybody likes them, but like everybody loves them. But like one of the worst flyers. I'm sorry, but like, all right. In terms of caving dinos, quick, undetectable. I'm kidding. That's Arc Mobile. They're pretty good caving dino, huh? If you level up there. All right. Cnidaria, Mesopithecus, Moncas. The fact that they can attack with the poop long range to slow while being on your shoulder makes them one of the best shoulder pets, right? Therizino, Combat, Gathering, and just all around. Good dino. Griffin, come on. One of the best one of the best flyers. Man, like, and you can't argue with it. I mean, you can, but like not many dinos have a rival there. Roll rat is pretty good. Roll rat is decent. Oh my god, is that the 2016 RG model? Oh, that is OG RG right there. RGs are, RGs are RGs, right? You really can't play Arc without an RG. Glowtails. Glowtails are just so cute. That's what they get to go there. They get to go here. Gallimimus. Gallimimus or Overlord. Overlord. Syntax has footage. It killed the Giga. Right? Galleys are just amazing. Honestly, galleys are pretty good. Phoenix, for how rare they are, they're not great. Alright. Oh, Tappies. Tappies are great. The ability to hold multiple people. The only flyer that has a multi-person saddle. That might be inaccurate now. I don't know. I don't tame many flyers that have. No. Nope. It's the only flyer that has a multi-person saddle. Alright, Stegos. Stegos good. Raptors. And a pack for being a saddles are 18. They're early game. A pack of them can take on a Rex, can take on a Carno. A good, decent leveled pack can take on a Rex. Alright. Oh, wait. The Charcharodontosaurus is not on here. Rival to the Giga. Gigas, for being like the second best creature in the game. Sorry, Giga, but Charcharodontosaurus took your place as number one, given the fact that it's easier to tame and rivals you. Thornies. Thorny beavers. Pretty good. They're about average. Actually, the fact that they're a mobile smithy makes them A tier, right? Everyone's tamed a Pteranodon. Desert Titan. I'm talking easiest mini boss or boss in the game. Alright, Capros. Capros! Carnal Sarco's here. Alos. Rideability? Nope. But as a pack, can pretty much. If you have a good pack of 3 Aloes, you can wipe out most things, right? As I said before, I'd take 3 Aloes over a Rex any day. Carbos aren't that great, right? They suck at gathering berries. They suck at damage. They're basically a tank that has a lot of weight. Alright. Do we even need to ask? It's so annoying, right? It's so annoying. I mean, if you're playing with a bunch of friends, yeah, it's fun, right? But, like, it's annoying. It's really annoying. The ability to get loot for free. For free? Gotchas are good. The insect swarm. Why is there 2 pictures of the insect swarm? That's insect swarm. That's also insect swarm. Insect swarm is a pain, right? It's a pain. It can't even be tamed. Leeches suck. Drones. Just as bad as that. There's another leech. Dynapit. Dinosuchus. That's not a Dinosuchus. That's definitely not a Dinosuchus. Is that a Dinosuchus? That is a, I know what this is. I'm gonna. So disappointed in myself. Deinonychus. Deinonychus. Deinonychus are actually really good. Like, surprisingly. Like, a pack of Deinonychus can shred things, right? Eighth. Sorry, everybody knows what they are. These guys are pretty good. Pretty good for a mobile base, right? And they produce resources over time. That puts them high on this list. A small Ferox. Best. I'm sorry, small Ferox. Best shoulder pet. Again with the micro swarm. Like. Alright, Space Dolphin. Space Dolphins are actually pretty average. Bloodstalkers. Good, but methods to tame them make them average. Magmasaurs, the ability to smelt metal. Magmasaurs are good. Alright, Big Ferox. Big Ferox is one of the best dinos in the game. Like, to be fair. Alright, Parakeet Swarm. Alright. The controller. Oh, that's Mooter. There's Mooter. Alright, Mooter, Dragon, right, I'd say probably here with, yeah, it's gonna be here. I'm not even gonna rank those. Those are freaking dinos. Uh, Tropio. Tropio's Shadowmanes. Shadowmanes, man. It's a Shadowmane. If you've ever played with a Shadowmane, Noglins. He's got. Alright. These wyverns. They're gonna go up here with fire wyverns. Alright, where's poison wyverns? Alright. The mech. Mech's decent. Mech's pretty good. It's not a pain either. Okay, fine. The carnivorous plants, they suck. Alright, they suck. They're not that great. Maywing, the ability to lay every tier of egg puts them as a must-have. Not to mention their saddle is only level 23, I think. Oh, I spelled it wrong. It's M-A-E. Come on. Before level 20. And the ability to lay the only small creature to lay exceptional eggs. Alright. These guys bit over like overrated. Like another space dolphin. Space dolphins are good. Where did I put those? That's Astrocetus. That's a space dolphin. Alright. Uh Alright. Rockwell. Genesis 2 Rockwell. These guys pretty good actually. These guys, cinema crops. Cinema crops are like they're too good. The fact that they're tamed of Titan and can be used as a glider, a parachute. Featherfall. They're OP. All right. About average for a boss fight. All right. Dinopithecus. Dinopithecus. Oh, pretty good. Just saying. The fact that it's basically a phyla that can be used as a pack. All right, crystal wyverns. Given the fact that they're almost as good as regular wyverns and can be tamed with just crystal rather than stealing eggs, and they're so much easier to tame, right? Because they're passive tames. That's gonna put them at A tier, right? Oh, all right. It's not easy boss, but it's not a super hard one. It's about average. So that is okay. That is it for Arc Dino rankings. Catch you next time. Peace.